What's good, everybody? This is Schmitty with another episode of Talkin Schmit. Today on the program, on the pod, we have two of my bros from the East Coast. They're in a band called Nature. You might have heard of them. Toothlog and Ryan WEIBUST are on the show today.
This is WEIBUST, and you're listening to Talkin Schmit.
And now a word from our sponsor,
Oro Coffee. That's some damn good coffee. Order 1 or 6 bags at orocoffeeroasters.com.
Y'all like music? Because you're listening to SMFM. Good people, welcome to a very distinctive episode of Talkin Schmit. For the first time ever, the featured band on SMFM is also the featured interview. Listeners of Talkin Schmit will know their name, will know their song. The song, Mary's Cross. The band, Nature. those guys. Love those guys. Great band. You like that song? You like Mary's Cross? Go pick up Afternoon Nightmare, okay? You want to dig deeper? Go through the crates, get the Spider Baby 7-inch. You heard? Beyond that, the Head of Death LP. Their debut album, okay? My personal favorite, though. Every band's first shit's the best. You can find this demo, the Zorch demo. Do yourself a favor, alright? Good people, support your friends' bands. Support underground bands. Support your scene, alright? Right outside your front door. Luckily, we got everything at our fingertips across the whole globe. You want to find them on the Instagram, you go to @metal_nights. That's nights with a K, alright? Nature's Mary Cross. Mary's Nature Cross. Talkin Schmit, SMFM. Until next time, peace.
So that was the first time we've heard the entirety of the song Mary's Cross by the band Nature. That's been our intro song since I started this. And just lucky enough for you motherfuckers, we got two people from the band and my dog barking. But first up, we got Ryan WEIBUST, and then following him, Tooth's going to join us shortly when he gets home from work. But we'll start out. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good, yeah. Yeah, it's funny that I think the first time I heard the intro to your podcast, I didn't realize what, like, I think you and Damien had kind of talked about, and he sent you the track. And because it was right around the time that we were like mixing the record too, and I think I was like listening to your pod, like it must have been like the first podcast. I was listening to it, and I thought there was something going wrong with my phone, that it was like playing two things at once, and I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" And then I kind of put the two together that Damien had given you the track. But
I mean, you guys must have got like quadrupled your followers and your audience and everything, right?
Oh yeah, we're all retired now, man. We're just living the good life.
Hey, before Tooth joins us, I wanted to play a little drinking game. I'm sober, but I want to live vicariously through all my drinking buddies. Is there a word that you can predict that Tooth may say that's kind of something that he may say, and then every time he says it, everyone has to drink?
Fuck would be a good one, but I mean, that's not very creative.
Let's do the fuck, because we've already had like two F-bomb contests, so
all right, yeah.
This will follow in that. That's perfect, yeah. All right, so guys, not starting now, but when Tooth joins us, we're not going to announce it because I don't want Tooth to even know, but we're going to do a drinking game. Every time Tooth says the word fuck, you got to drink. And also a disclaimer, you may get sick of the song Spider Baby, because I may just throw that out every once in a while for a little hint, like time to drink, or just because I love that fucking riff. So anyway, we're going to dive in. Ryan, where do we start? You were born and raised where?
I was born and raised in, well, I guess technically Newport, Rhode Island, but I grew up in Jamestown, which is the island right across the bridge from Newport. So it's Rhode Island's a small state, so so I grew up in Jamestown, and the natural progression is to go over to Newport once you know, it's like the closest. Providence is about 45 minutes north, but Newport was kind of where it was at for us. So
that's where you discovered skateboarding?
Yeah, my uncle was actually partners with Sid.
Thank you, sir.
Because the shop opened, I think, in like 70, 72, I think. And then my uncle joined, I think, like maybe in the 80s or something. And so he was like Sid's partner for, you know, up until I was about 15 or so. So it was kind of like
a Water Brothers.
At Water Brothers, yeah. Like I remember my grandfather bringing me to the shop when it used to be like the original shop, and it was just like a shack on the first beach. It had like the vert ramp next to it and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just remember going there, like being like, "Whoa, who's this guy?" You know, like it's just like a super small little shack with like old skateboards and surfboards and wetsuits and all sorts of stuff.
Was your uncle a wild man like Package also, or was it the yin to the yang, or what?
He was definitely the yin to the yang, I would say. You know, he's the guy that kind of, we called him the man behind the curtain, kind of like he was the guy just kind of, you know, making sure that everything was running smoothly. And, you know, Sid was like, still is like the face of Water Brothers, you know, he's so,
yeah, he's getting like a documentary like any day, like pretty soon this year maybe, right?
It's already, we went to a screening of it last summer at Fort Adams where they had the first Extreme Games and where they do Jazz and Folk Fest, and there was like 3,000 people there. It was pretty wild. It was like kind of like a giant family reunion for everyone. So they
like
screened
high
it there.
production.
What's that?
It looks high production. It looks like it's gonna be sick as fuck.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, it's really great. They did an incredible job. I don't know. Like, I remember they were talking about they were gonna go like trying to tour it around, or I don't know if they're like kind of in like the pitching it to people to stream, or I'm not sure where it stands at the moment. But
Package is promising a Santa Cruz viewing.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I want to go on the tour with them. Like if they do tour, you know, like that'd be amazing. You know, just kind of cruise around with them. So, but yeah, it's really well done. It's they tell the story pretty like they don't really. There's a lot to. It's a challenge to kind of take on the documentary on him because there's so many different ways with any documentary. But they did a pretty good job of getting the right people in there and, you know, telling the story the way it really is. You know, I was a little worried that they were going to shy away from how much he partied, you know, because that's a huge part of his personality, but they did a good job of including that. So
nice. Yeah, it was a pleasure. I got to talk to him for a couple hours, and I had always heard of him through you guys, but I had never really got in detail. And he opened up about some of the early days in the fucking downstairs and just all the different, like, is that kind of what opened your eyes to skateboarding? Did you see some like pros come through there and it just got you more and more fired up? Or like, what was your process getting into skateboarding and then like kind of saying like, oh, this is my shit?
Yeah, I mean, it was a natural progression to go from like buttboarding to actually standing up. And I think when I was like probably around 10 or 11, it was like when I like went and got like a real skateboard at the shop, and like, yeah, I started like kind of hanging around. There was a spot called Parati Park in Newport. It was kind of like an EMB kind of spot where it was just like these like amazing ledges, like a bunch of like angled ledges, and it was kind of where the cops, there was no skate park at that time, so the cops would just always, you know, if they'd kick us out of a spot somewhere else in town, they'd be like, go to Parati, you know. So but yeah, that was like skating in Newport, just like meeting friends at the shop, you know, like go to the shop, meet your friends, and then head out, hit a couple spots, and then naturally we'd start to go to like Providence and Boston and New York and stuff like that. But yeah, Water Brothers is definitely like the home base for sure.
Did you get into surfing at all?
No, I tried it out because I mean it's a huge part of the shop, and it's pretty popular in Newport. But I just wanted to skate. I don't know. I tried it a couple of times, and you know, I wasn't very good at it. And then it was just kind of like, I wasn't a huge beach person either. You know, I'd rather. I love the beach now, but as a kid, I just wanted to kind of just go and skate. You know, it was just all I wanted to do.
Who were some of like your early like dudes you were kind of stoked on? Like if you put some pictures on your wall, like who would we have seen in that era?
Definitely, like I think one of the early video, like I went to Woodward skate camp when I was probably 13, and it was the year that Welcome to Hell came out, I remember that like they brought us into like they would we'd have like video screenings, you know, there, any new video that would come out, and remember they showed us Welcome to Hell, and we were all just like, holy shit. And it just so happened to have like the Toy Machine team was there, so it was like Jamie Thomas, Maldonado, Barley, I think Brian Henderson was there. So those were definitely some people that, you know, Jamie Thomas was like someone I was like really into handrails and stuff like that. So, yeah, you definitely. But yeah, I don't know, all those guys. Trying to think who else. I remember meeting Kareem Campbell at the first Extreme Games, and he like made a pretty huge impression on us. Wow. You know, he was just like such a rad dude. Like he was like taking a lot of time to like talk to us little groms. You know, he wasn't like too cool for school.
Sick.
Chris Sen, like I don't know. I'm trying to think. Yeah, having the first Extreme Games in Newport was pretty wild. As a, you know, I think I was probably like 13 or so when that happened. You know, so it was just like having like one of the biggest skate contests come to your small town. You know, and they're all just like hanging out at your local shop. So it was pretty cool.
Was the town, like looking back, was it too big of a thing for that small of a place, or did it work out fine? Like, what was the impact on that? Because I remember Phil Shaw was my friend, and he went to that, and at that time nobody knew what X Games was or anything, and he came back, he's like, dude, it's crazy, there's rollerbladers, BMX, you know, explaining the whole thing. But part of his story was how cool Rhode Island was. And he had never been there and stuff, but he was like, man, it's kind of a small zone.
Yeah, he also made a huge impression. He was like one of my favorite people that we all met at the first Extreme Games. I mean, I guess they split it up. Like, so half of it was in Newport. Like they built like this crazy street course vert ramp thing inside the Fort Adams, where they have the jazz and folk festivals every year, and then they had like a bunch of other stuff up in Providence. So it was kind of like, and I don't think it really. I think that they wanted to add more and more sports to it. I think they did it for the first 2 years, and then they eventually moved it out. Then they switched it to the X Games, and they added. You know, it got way bigger, but the first couple of years, I mean, it was great in Newport. We ended up getting all the after the first Extreme Games, we had this little skate park up the street in my parents' house. My friend had like an abandoned tennis court, and we built this like little skate park called Grim Skate Park there. And after the first Extreme Games was over, they had all this wood, and they just gave it to Water Brothers, and they were just like, there wasn't any ramps going on at the time, so we kind of had the only little skate park going on, so they ended up giving us all the wood from the first Extreme Games, which was kind of crazy. We had like all these ramps, and they're all just like turquoise blue and, you know, like orange and all these crazy colors, you know. That was pretty funny. We ended up building like a wall with most of it, because like the neighbors were complaining so much about the noise. So we built like this kind of like, with the XS, we built this like kind of noise baffle for it.
Yeah, that sounds sick. I remember Sid was saying something about that. And was Fred Smith around when you started skating still, or was he kind of tailing out?
He was, but he was the generation before me, so like I didn't meet Freddie till I was a little bit older, and then I like starting to like learn about like the Alba team and all, like, you know, like he was a figure, like kind of, he would always come into the shop, you know, but I didn't really realize, you know, how sick he was until I was older, you know. And then he gave me all my first tattoos, and, you know, like
oh, sick.
Yeah, he used to, that was like, I knew him as a tattoo artist for a long time before I always knew he was like a sick skater and stuff, but I just didn't the world wasn't, you didn't have the internet in your hands back then, so it was like, unless you get your hands on like an old Thrasher or something, it was, it took a little bit longer to learn stuff back then,
For sure, yeah. Kids don't even understand. Like, now it's just everything's right there. What's the answer to this? Oh, it's right here.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I remember like once I would skate with him a little bit, like when he kind of got back into it. It was pretty fun, like just going to skate these like little skate parks with him, and dude just skates so fast, man. It was just so fun to just watch him just fucking fly around the skate parks. And
so
we
good.
weren't riding vert or anything, but it was still just like the dude's just like a shark, man. He's just like, his style is just so sick.
Plus, he's such a personality. Like, him and Sid together must just be the best. Like, you just want to be a fly on the wall watching.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a wild time at that shop. Just a lot of people just walking in those doors.
And so when do you kind of start getting into music? Like, is skateboarding and music kind of together? Like it was for me. I think I bought my first skateboard and my first vinyl the same year. Yeah.
I was always into music. I never was really into like playing music. I think it's probably around 22 or so when we started Demassek. So I mean, that was just, we kind of started the band out of just there not being, like, we'd go to these parties and be like looking at, like, because Newport's a college town, so we ended up at a lot of like college parties and stuff. And I remember me and Logan were just at some party and we're like, what kind of music you guys got here? And like we looked through the CD book and it was just like fucking most horrible like Dave Matthews Band shit. We're like, we gotta do something about this. Like, so we were just like, we should start a band. And like Pete Booth and Anton were already always jamming, and like we were kind of like toying with the idea of starting a band. And I mean, Logan had no idea how to play the drums. I had never sang before in a band, so it was kind of just like. And I remember that night we ended up just like texting Dods. We're like, dude, you want to be in our band? You want to play bass? And like the next day I was like, hey, sorry if I like texted you really late, like, what are you up to? He's like, practicing the bass. I was like, oh, hell yeah, dude. Like, so like, yeah, we got together and kind of started, Anton was definitely our teacher for sure. I mean, Dods kind of knew what he was doing. Pete knew what he was doing, but me and Logan had no idea what the hell we were doing. So it was.
And was Logan and Dods like, were they came from Scotland, right? Like they weren't.
Yeah.
So when did you meet them?
So Logan was the kind of like the first wave of the Scottish dudes that came to Newport. He came over with this dude Wee Joe and our friend Tatty, and they were just like came to the US. They wanted to go to see New York and stuff, and then they ended up Wee Joe's aunt and uncle, I think, lived in Newport, and so they ended up going to Newport, and just like I think someone was like, you got to meet this guy Sid, you got to go like to the shop. And so like I think they ended up going to the shop, and Sid was in Africa, like, and I don't remember, like he ended up coming back and they just partied, and then like none of them ever, like Wee Joe ended up going back, but Logan just never left. Fraser still lives in Newport, and then so once they were kind of in Newport, Logan started working at the shop, and then there was like there'd be like Dods and like Ricky and like a bunch of those guys, like they were like kind of like the second wave of Scottish dudes that would come and like hang out, and they ended up moving to the States as well. So yeah, there was a lot of Scottish dudes in Newport, which is always pretty rad. Sandy, like
yeah,
good people.
When you guys started playing, were you just only playing locally, like just at parties and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of the other thing. It was like there wasn't really that many places to play, and if there was a place to play or go see music in Newport, it was like seeing like a cover band. It was like it's just like such like a college town that they just want to hear like the hits. So we kind of started like we would play a lot of like. I think our first show was like a Christmas party that like wasn't they just like they were like it was one of Pete Booth's friends, and he was like, hey, I heard you got a band, you want to play at our party? You know, like he had no idea like what he was getting himself into. So we ended up playing that show, and they were like, I think I got through like 3 songs and they told us to stop. You know, it was just like way too loud. It was like a family Christmas party. So then we ended up playing shows in Providence and stuff like that. But yeah, it was all local for the most part. We eventually made it to New York, which was pretty cool.
So that was your first kind of like road trip with the band?
Yeah, I mean, we had played in like Massachusetts and stuff. We played in Boston, but yeah, the first time we played New York, we drove down. We put all of our gear in Dods'. Dods had like one of his work pickup trucks that had like a full cab on the back. So we put all the gear in there, like all of our amps, guitars, and stuff. Drove down to the city. We played at this place called Cheney that's like on the Lower East Side, and played the show. It was awesome. And then we ended up going, like, you know, as you do in New York, you go out and just black out, and we all like, you know, ended up in different, you know, everyone ends up at different houses at the end of the night. So we all woke up the next morning and like no one had heard from Dods, and we were just like, what the, like, where did he go, you know? And like eventually got through. Like his wife at the time had been texting us, like Dods like is I guess Dods called her collect. He had gone after, like, as the night was over, the truck was parked right in front of the venue. Dods went back to the truck, passed out in the driver's seat, woke up, and some dude had a gun on him and just told him to start driving. So Dods was just like, you know, had no idea what to do, like still drunk, drives this dude to somewhere in like deep Brooklyn, and the dude ends up stealing his phone, steals his wallet, doesn't take any of the amps. I don't think he had any idea that there was anything in the back of the truck. Takes his bike that was strapped to the roof of the truck, and then just rides off. And then Do's just like stuck in the middle of Brooklyn, first time in New York, just like no phone, no money or anything. So he could just like eventually, yeah, he ended up calling his wife collect, and then we were able to like somehow find him. So,
and this is like kind of like prime Max Fish era. Odell's still drinking.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know if Endless Bummer has started yet or if that's a little later, but like you guys were fucking getting hammered a lot, and like, I mean, Patrick stopped drinking to probably from piling out too much or whatever. But it was funny because me and Drehobel and Becker out on the west side are seeing, the west coast, we're seeing, in McGinley, we're seeing what's going on with this blog. Like, what the fuck? Like, the internet kind of starts happening. Yeah. And Odell's got epically latered, and we're like, what is this? Jerry Sue, Spanky, Max Fit, like photos. And then all of a sudden we're like, fuck it, we're going to make epically Trife, and we're going to do the exact same thing on the west coast. And then it was just like, I don't know. Some people, I think, were pissed off, maybe. Like, they didn't understand that we were just taking the piss out of it, and we were kind of all friends, you know, one way or the other. But eventually, like, we had a party for the Trife, and that's kind of how I met you guys more or less in person, because we were like, do you guys want to come out and play? And then next thing you know, fucking Logan's calling me on the phone. It's snowing. We're going to go to the other airport, but we're making it, brother. And I was like, you guys rule.
I forgot about that. Yeah, they had a crazy storm or something. Yeah, they ended up having to drive to I don't remember. They ended up having to drive really far to catch another flight. I can't remember where it was, but
yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like it was Connecticut, maybe.
Yeah, there was also Endless Bummer. Don't forget, which was the Doze's version of the blogs. But
yeah, and they were all kind of coming in, and it was just like, I don't know, blogging was like Instagram before Instagram, but it wasn't.
I wish we could go back to that. That was
Yeah, a little
It was
more.
funny because like one of the other Scottish dudes, Ricky, would come down to. Have you ever met Ricky? He was a dude in like he's the guy that would always jump out of the tree at Robstock. He's just like, he's an amazing guy, but he'd go down to New York and just go banana. Like he was just a complete savage and have no like come home and like have no idea. Like his wife would be like, "Oh, how's New York?" You know, I'd be like, "Oh, it's cool," but then he had no idea that like Dods was like putting the pictures from the weekend up on Endless Bummer, so she would just see like how like the crazy stuff he was doing. You know, it's just like, I mean, that happens now with Instagram, but it's kind of funny how back then that's like the blogs were how you get caught doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, but it was interesting to me because once it kind of started, like people understood, like, oh, this guy has a blog. There was some people that gravitated towards it, like, get my photo, and other people like, get your fucking camera. You know, like there was definitely the yin and yang there too. It was just, we're getting hammered and not caring at all.
Oh, yeah.
And I think like nowadays that might not work out, like with all the, the policing that's been going on and stuff. It seems like I don't want anybody to know like what I'm doing when I black out because I don't know. You know?
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. Different times for sure.
Yeah.
But the Trife party was like a great meeting of the minds. I feel like that was pretty special. That was I think we had played out there before, hadn't we? I think we did a quick little thing with Hightower, and then I can't remember but then I remember when we played at the Trife party, we got Troy Demassek to actually come to the show because he was like, we got the name from Pete went to high school in Half Moon Bay. Pete actually grew up with Cardiel. Did you know that?
Yeah, that's right. Dude, Pete used to call me all the time. Shout out, Pete. I miss you. I don't know where you are anymore, but he used to call me at late night and be like, I love you, bro.
Yeah, he's the best.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, Pete we got the name from Pete's yearbook. This guy named Troy Demassek was, they have like the superlatives in the back and most athletic or whatever. In Pete's yearbook, they had most typical rockers. And it was like this girl named Stacy Weichel and this guy named Troy Demassek. And so I ended up naming the band after him, and then he ended up coming to the show, but I don't think he stayed. I don't think he made it for our set. I think his chick was just kind of like, I don't know about this scene here. So
we had what was it called? The Wheel of Misfortune, the Wheel of Misfortune, and it had like, you spin it, shot a Jaeger, you spin it, you don't get nothing, you spin it, you get $1. Like there was all these different things. Scruboo was on it all night. He was just like, what?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And then Becker made the coffin too, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I think maybe Becker and Drahobo. I remember we were doing a bunch of woodwork at Drahobo's garage. But Evan, of course, was the cabinet maker, so he had it pretty dialed.
Yeah, the coffin was a nice touch. We made our first coffins for Demassek. I think it was like a New Year's Eve show. And we wanted to it was like another thing, like being in a small town, we were like, how cool would it be if we played a show and there was a curtain before, which is something that's, you're living in a small town, you're dreaming of like a curtain for your show. So we made like a curtain that like we hung up with clothesline clips, and we built these two coffins on either side of the stage, and then we all had to like back into the coffins because we were gonna walk out for the for the intro. And I remember like Pete and Dods walked out on one side, and then me and Anton walked out on the other. And like as we walked out, the coffin on our side like got snagged on something. They ended up falling on Anton. He's like doing the intro, like playing the guitar, and just like a coffin falling on him. Like, they were fun. And then another show we strapped, because Pete used to have like one of those cadaver mobiles. It's not a hearse, but it's like it's the actual car that the funeral home would go and pick up the dead cadavers, so it's like the similar kind of car. And we played a show in New Bedford, and we strapped one of the coffins to the roof. And on the way home, it just went loose and just like flew across the highway and just like shattered.
That same thing happened with the ramp at Wallenberg one time. After the session, the guy put it up on the van, but he forgot to like fasten it, and then he drove on the freeway, and the whole ramp just went. It was like so gnarly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Luckily, it was late at night, so there was no one on the road.
The closest thing I got to what you guys were doing probably was when I started going on these skate rock trips with Thrasher. And like we would be skating in the day, and then they would have the bands playing at night, and then we'd move to the next city. And it felt similar to what you guys were doing. I wonder if it's true that like each kind of epic moment made the bar higher for the, like you kind of, it was like I always told Preston, you're P-Stone, dude. You've already set the bar. Like everyone wants the P-Stone show.
You had front row seats on that one.
And like when you're drinking and stuff, and you're doing all that, the only way to get better is to get better. Like, you know what I mean? And so like, you're kind of like looking for hijinks. You're looking for like more people and the fun times. Like it's all about having fun, really, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, touring as a band and touring as a skater is like, they're very similar, you know, like, you know, immediately if you're going to, like we've toured with bands that, every band that we've toured with, we all got along really well, but it's the same kind of thing when you're touring with skaters, like, you know, like right away when someone gets in the van, they're just not driving with the rest of the crew, it's not going to work out, you know, like likewise right. With playing with other bands. So like when we got Demassek toured early with Hightower, and they definitely like kind of showed us how to tour as a band. Like, you know, it's not about playing a million shows, it's about playing like a couple good shows, having a good time, going swimming, like taking a day off to go skate, and, you know, like it really made an impact on us, and like kind of we took that motto as like Demassek, and then Nature eventually took that, you know, like that's kind of how we've always done it. And like we'll have bands come from Europe, and we'll just kind of show them the way, you know, like this isn't how you don't play like as many shows as you possibly can. You just gotta have fun, go like have good shows, and go swimming and enjoy it, you know, because otherwise you're just gonna get burnt on it. Like we would always, the max we'd do a tour is like, you know, 15 days max, because, you know, like anytime after that, just, I don't know, we never played music to make money also, so I guess that probably plays into it. It was more just like, all right, we're gonna go have a little vacation, have a good time. So
sure. When does Tooth come into the picture? Like, I know he was your friend before he was in the band. Like, was he kind of a little kid that you knew all along, or did you not meet him till a little later?
Yeah, he's I think probably about 5 or 6 years younger than us.
Right.
I mean, I was the young guy in Demassek. You know, Pete and Anton and Dods is closer to my age, but all the rest of the guys are a little bit older. But so Tooth was in a band called Gnarwhale. I mean, we knew each other through skating. Like Tooth used to be like one of the little kids at Skater Island, you know, like skating the flat bottom of the vert ramp, you know, like, so like we knew each other, you know. But like once he started playing music, he was in Gnarwhale, and they played, I think like the second Robstock that we went to, or the second or third, I can't remember.
And now, another first impression with Rob Collinson.
Aloha, good morning. So first impression of WEIBUST and Tooth, I don't know. They're both, they came up to my house in Maine to play. I think they were both in Demassek at the time. Both had long hair. Tooth had curly hair. Tooth looks like used to look like he was like 12 years old. They're both ripping skaters, and best dudes ever. Missed those guys. But yeah, basically heavy metal long hair and ripping skateboarders. That's my first impression of them.
Logan had kind of gone back to Scotland. He kind of overstayed his visa here, and it was kind of like he needed to go back to Scotland to kind of clear up some stuff. So Demassek was kind of, I mean, we weren't like a super active band at the time, but we were playing shows here and there. So I was impressed with how Tooth was like playing drums in this kind of like almost jazz odyssey black metal band. You know, he's like really keeping the whole thing together, you know. So we just brought him in as the drummer for Demassek, you know, just to do a couple shows here and there, and he ended up just becoming the drummer. You know, we've tried to get Logan to come back and do a couple, but I don't know. I think he's moved on.
Well, now joining us is Michael Vieira, aka Tooth.
You want to talk a little Schmit? Talking that Schmit, homie? Okay. This is the log man from nature. And you're watching Talkin Schmit.
What's good?
Dude, how you guys doing?
We're doing good. We were just leading into you joining Demassek. I mean, joining nature.
Oh, yeah.
Talking some Gnarwhale.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Classic.
The jazz odyssey Gnarwhale.
Freedom.
There you go. There. So you got your skating on at the island? Is that where you kind of learned how to skate?
Yeah, that was right down the road from where I grew up.
Where'd you grow up?
In Portsmouth. It's like 4 minutes away. Quinnick Island's just 3 towns, and we're on the other end of town.
Who were the locals there that like you'd come and be ripping?
Kevin Garabedian.
Oh, at Skater Island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Akeel. I mean, all the 5'9" dudes were like Sloppy Sam and Big Tim and
Chicken Hawk.
Fucking
Then the Scottish dudes showed up pretty heavy.
Stu Graham.
Yep. Dods, Taddy, that whole shit show.
The Islanders had a lot of fucking epic nicknames. There was like some fucking crazy ones that like Package had like Dick the fucking mailman, or I don't know what it was, but some crazy shit, right?
Mary Pick a Paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wood Shop.
Brown Tornado.
Dennis the Cabbie.
Wall Street.
Whoa, yeah, he was good.
I'm not claiming.
They were all the bums, but everybody got a nickname. The bums got great ones.
Store Detective.
Yep.
Sid would just, there's one homeless shelter in Newport, but every Sunday there was like the Salvation Army was down the street, so they would have like free meals and stuff, but Sid would always like give them like jobs and stuff. So we had this guy named Store Detective that would just like basically just hang out in the shop and like he wouldn't do anything. He was just like the store detective, you know. He was like, I don't know, it was pretty cool how he accepted everyone at the shop. Gave him a role, you know, place to be.
It felt important. That's not a fire smoke detector.
You burning down?
That's my fucking router for some reason. It's blinking.
Tooth, what's your earliest memory of WEIBUST? Like, when do you remember seeing him or meeting him, like, early on?
It's definitely at the island. Working there. That was when I was, like, fucking 11 or 10, maybe. Like, just started, you know, skating. Didn't know who anybody was, but, you know, see all the old guys and be scared of them.
Was it trippy, like, joining the band with these guys, like, that you kind of look up to as younger, and then as you get older, the age obviously isn't as dramatic, so you're kind of more bro, but, like, are you still kind of like, whoa, what a trip?
We were all hanging out, because, I mean, the age gap from being, you know, if you're 13 to someone who's 16 is huge. But if you're 16 and they're 21, it's a little less because everybody's kind of like, you know, drinking beers at the party or something. They kind of mellows it out. And I got a good taste, going out with package and. Before that, some of those dudes would let me kick it at the party and like drink beers and shit. So it kind of like softened it up a little bit. Felt a little more comfy hanging out with a bunch of psychopaths.
Yeah, there were a couple bars that would let Tooth come drink at in Providence. And
at a young age, right?
They wouldn't let him in.
I think when we went to Surf Expo, I was like 15 or 16 with those dudes and like was at the bar. And I looked 12. Like I didn't look old enough, but.
What's one of your highlights from all the Robstocks you've been to? What's one of your favorite moments?
Oh, there's so many. Scruboo in the fire. When he fell in and just grilled his ass on like a shopping cart.
Yeah, that was good.
Martel shit himself.
Well, didn't he shit his pants and then like threw his pants
but
into
his car
the woods,
keys were
tripping on mushrooms, and then like the next day realized that his car keys were in the pants and he had to like go find his shit pants in the woods to get home.
Pencil. Pretty good memories of Pencil. Like the first one.
Remember when Dods and Scruboo fought each other at like 2 in the morning? Because like
that was great.
It gets really dark, like there's no lights or anything, and like everyone has their tent set up. So Scruboo, like, I don't even know if he had a tent set up, but he went like into the camping zone and just found a tent and passed out, and it turned out it was Dods' tent. And so they ended up like Dods tried to wake him up and wouldn't get out, and then they ended up just like getting into like Godzilla versus King Kong like fight in the middle of all these tents in the woods. You could just hear like people's tents getting like collapsed on and shit. That's pretty good.
Shout out to Scruboo. Fuck, that guy used to live out here too. Like, I got a good dosage of Scruboo in my life. It was epic.
Now I'm pretty close to him up in Rhode Island. I think he's in.
Is he still chefing?
I'm not totally sure. I haven't really kept up on him, but it'd be nice to see him, meet his family and stuff.
He's got twins now.
Yeah,
dude. Was he in Connecticut? Where is he?
I think he's in Connecticut. Yeah, he's like by.
When I was in New York like 3 times ago, he took the train out and met me at a Mets game, and it was sick. He just pulled into I guess the train drops you off right there, and he's like, I'm coming! And so that was cool. I hadn't seen him forever.
No, he's a man. He kicked ass in Newport, too. A couple times, like, on the way to Robstock, they would, everybody would show up to Newport for the gig, like Hightower, Demassek gig or something. And, it'd just be carnage through town. And I think Scruboo like woke up in the median or something, like on Memorial Boulevard, and like woke up and like went and got like a pedicure and like a manicure, and then he showed up back to our house, which is like the scene of the crime when I lived with Dods, and he had like some Mike's Hard lemonades. And we were like, dude, what the fuck are those things? He's like, it's the best. And that like that sparked everybody started drinking Mike's Hard after that. That was it.
Taste maker.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna switch gears now and get a warm, heartfelt shout out from the one and only Timothy Donald McKinney.
Want to give it a shout out, but more importantly, a congratulations to Dirty Danny from Vegas. One of my initial motivations in skateboarding coming back, just showed love on YouTube and thought he was just a great guy, to now him getting sponsored by Blood Wizard. Story goes, I guess Gregson went out there and Danny ended up being his pool chaperone, showing him the sights. And I guess Chris was so amazed that he ended up sponsoring him. And Danny just sent me his package, a picture of his package. He's all pumped up in Vegas right now. He does cleans pools on the weekend, so he's got the Scout out. And he's just the nicest guy in the world. Him and his chica are some badasses. Congratulations. I love you, Danny. That's awesome, bro. Shout out Gregson too, man. Hell yeah.
Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard. Blood Wizard! Shop.bloodwizard.com.
Tickety-tack.
Hey, it's Corey at Blue Plate, 3218 Mission Street. Come see us. Meatloaf, fried chicken, deviled eggs, Dollar Olympia beers. We're here every day of the week. We got a garden and we got smiles on our faces. Come let us make you happy.
Okay, I got a question for both of you. Do you guys feel the same way? And how do you feel about Ronnie James Dio in Black Sabbath? Sabbath version with Dio.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I just did this whole thing with Farmer in like Noracco, and like his whole Noracco like hates Ronnie James Dio.
Oh, really?
You ever see the whole thing where he interviews him and he just like pisses him off the whole time?
Oh,
So
yeah.
like he gets kicked out. He gets kicked out.
It's hard to
Oh,
Yeah.
it was like for Big Brother, maybe?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But yeah. No, I'm a huge fan. It took me a minute to like appreciate it. I think because I just grew up on Ozzy, and I think Pete Booth ended up turning me on to it. Like, just played Neon Nights for me, and I was like, all right, this works. This is good.
My wife loves Rainbow in the Dark. She's just like, that song title alone.
Have you seen the Dio documentary?
No.
Oh, you gotta check that out. And there's footage. They have like all these demo tapes, and there's they're listening to Rainbow in the Dark without the keyboards. It's just like the guitar riff. It's pretty heavy. Pretty cool. It's a great documentary.
We need a fucking WEIBUST top 500 documentaries. Like, remember in the lockdown, me and my wife were watching a documentary every night, and then I started talking to you, and you were all into it too, and you were giving me some, I was giving you some, and it was like, man, that was sick, like, to have that shit during, because I don't know about you guys, but in San Francisco, it was like, we're in a condo too, so it just felt like claustrophobia was kind of crazed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need something to take your mind off of whatever it was.
Yeah, apocalypse then.
And now, another first impression from Tony Farmer.
All right, hello again. Tony Farmer here with another first impression. This time we got Ryan WEIBUST and the one and only Tooth. So, God, I had to really think for a minute. It's funny how your brain spins things around, but my first impression of Ryan would have been seeing photos of Demassek on Odell's later blog way back when, probably like fucking 04 maybe, right thereabouts. And then I actually saw him play. First time I saw Demassek play was at the Autumn Bowl, Danny Pencil birthday party, summer 2005. And even that is a bit blurry because I brained myself. And so, but I do, man, I really do remember just the music blasting and taking runs and you know, reveling in it, and then kind of coming to, walking into the bodega going, wait, what happened? So that was that. As far as actually meeting Ryan, I met him in a parking lot in Austin at during South by Southwest 2007. I had a Hightower gig in the parking lot at like maybe a bar or a barbecue place, something like that. And you know, if you met Ryan, you're immediately struck by what a mellow, cool as a cucumber demeanor he's got, you know? That's the thing about him. That juxtaposition of the fucking metal god on stage with those pipes and Stephen Baldwin's leather pants. And then in any other setting where he's just fucking the mellowest cat you've ever met. As for Tooth, shoots, I don't have a glaring first impression. I'm guessing it was up in Rhode Island, maybe at the Jamestown skate park. Could have been at Sloppy Sam's pool. Either way, I mean, look at the kid. How do you not fucking just fall in love with that face immediately? Yeah, that's that. Love you boys. Cheers.
I did talk to Farmer, though, and he said to ask you about the Stephen Baldwin leather pants.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you saw me in Demassek, you saw me wearing Stephen Baldwin's leather pants, which, as weird as that sounds, it gets even weirder, because of all the people that gave me these leather pants, I was working on a construction site one day, and, I mean, we were friends at the time, but Donny Barley came up and he's like, "Hey man, like, do you need some leather pants?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah." Like, cause I was just buying like these like shitty ones at thrift stores, and like every show I'd play, they'd like rip and like, you know, like, and so he's like, "I got some leather pants for you, man." And he gave them to me, and they were just like super nice. And he didn't tell me where he got them or anything. It came out like years later. He's like, "You want to know where I got those?" He's like, "They're Stephen Baldwin's leather pants." Like, we were just like hanging out at his house, and he was like, "Hey, you want these?"
No way.
Yeah, they're like suede. They're suede on one side. They're reversible, so they're suede on one side and then leather on the other side.
Wonder what he did with them. Stephen.
Oh, bad things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some juju in there.
Yeah, so I've seen Stephen in some movies, but they're pretty lowbrow.
Oh, Stephen's in. He's also in Outside Providence.
Stephen is?
Isn't he?
Alec is.
I know Alec is, but I thought Stephen. Well, maybe I'm thinking of a different movie where he's trying to make a bong. What the fuck is that movie?
That's Outside Providence.
He's like, "I need a bong." He's like, "Give me a snorkel and a like a fish tank."
There's definitely a lot of bong, but I don't think there's a snorkel. He makes him play the bong like a flute. Right? He's like, "What's that?" He's it's my flute. He's like, "All right, why don't you play a little song for the fellas on your flute?"
Get the fuck out of here, Dylan.
What's the current state of this band? What's going on with you guys?
Nature?
Yeah.
Pretty sleepy at the moment, but
yeah, we're kind of all over the map at the moment. He's in Rhode Island. I'm in Texas. Dino's in New York. We still have our practice space in New York, so
Dino's still there. He's playing with a new band quite a bit.
Yeah, they just played in San Francisco actually last.
Oh yeah, we were out of town. Let me hear the story about Spider Baby, because it's one of my faves.
That's on you, Ryan.
I think it was like when we were trying to name the band. I think we were like hanging out with Erin McCord, and she was just like raffling off names, and she was like raffling off movies. And she's like, "Oh, this movie's called Spider Baby." And I was like, "Oh, it's just right away you hear that name, it's like pretty odd, you know?" So it's just like, then we watched the movie. It's like an old Jack Hill movie, black and white, pretty weird. I don't know. It just kind of like wrote this song about it, and then came up with like a little breakdown thing, and I don't know, it's just like, it's one of those songs you write it and you don't really think anything much of it, and then it's like what everyone kind of knows of us.
It wasn't the first song we wrote, but it was the first one that really like kind of banged.
The breakdown is pretty intense.
Yeah, that bang, right when it goes into the jam. So is the lyrics all about like references to the movie?
Pretty much, yeah. It's just kind of like talking about the kids in the movie. Sid Haig's in it also. The kids in the movie have this syndrome called the Mary syndrome. So as they get older, they start to digress. After like 18, they turn into cannibals. So it's kind of like, and they have Lon Chaney's in it. Lon Chaney's like their caretaker. So it's kind of written from his perspective. He's like kind of like trying to harness these inevitable a little bit, you know.
I'm watching it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a cool movie. It's Jack Hill, the guy that made like Foxy. It's not Foxy Brown. Yeah, Foxy Brown. Like he made like a bunch of those old films.
Okay.
I haven't seen it since we wrote the song. Before we wrote the song.
Yeah.
I can't remember any.
When was that? Like a while ago.
2008 or 9.
Oh, yeah, probably 2008-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a while back.
What's your favorite song to play, dude?
Dekion, I think. I go through phases where I was like, we're not fucking playing Spider Baby ever again. and then everyone wanted to play it, and then I played it, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Now I just want to play it all the time. Dekion, I think we played that every single show.
Yeah, people might fight us if we don't play that one.
Yeah, so that one's great. But the newer stuff is really fun.
Yeah.
Too. There was like a 7-inch we did that kind of just came and went, the invitation, and it was like this really, shut the fuck up! Intense guitar, intense all around, really fun song to play.
I'd like to someday play Unsolved Mysteries, like legitimately, because we wrote this like song that's like a combination of probably 3 or 4 songs that we had going, and then it's not like a hard song to play, but it's a hard song to remember because there's like so many parts, and we used to play it when we were like kind of like testing it out, but I didn't have lyrics for it, so I was just like drunkenly yelling stuff. But
yeah,
it'd be fun to play that one live. It's like, it's a journey.
So do you have songs that you haven't recorded?
Not really. There's like demoed stuff, stuff that didn't make the cut or whatever from going back. It's all somewhere, but
cold cuts, cold beers.
Yeah, if it was awesome, we would have recorded it, but we didn't.
Yeah, I feel that. What's up with the radio show? You guys did a radio show, right?
Yeah, that was.
Tell me about that. That was like probably like 10. Well, you did start like 10 years ago, maybe.
Seems like a while back. In 2009, didn't we?
Oh,
I think so. Yeah, 2009 or 2010.
And what was it? You had your own program each week, right? Like,
yeah, it was East Village Radio.
They were kind of like they were pretty. They were kind of ahead of their time in terms of like, it was before Sirius. I mean, was Sirius? I mean, Sirius was around, but I don't know. It was before definitely before podcasting was a thing, So it was like just an online radio station that broadcasted off First and First outside of this restaurant called Little Frankie's in the Lower East Side. So you're basically in a glass booth on First Avenue doing a radio show.
Oh shit!
But
how long did that last?
A
couple of years.
Something. We got fired.
Yeah.
For what?
Some shit about Randy Rhoades.
Oh yeah, I mean it was going downhill for a long time.
Yeah, it was a fucking mess. But the nail in the coffin was Randy Rhoades.
Yeah,
what happened?
I think we announced his birthday year wrong or something like that.
It was
death
day.
It was a factual thing that we said that the guy was like, "You guys need a producer. You need someone fact checking your stuff," and we were just like, "Dude, we're just drinking beers, playing records, man. We're not." We're not trying to have a producer in here,
Yeah.
Whoa, somebody took it way too serious.
They were taking a lot of the fun out of it. At one point they told us that we couldn't have, we would just have the door open. So anyone that wanted to come into the booth while we were doing the show, we'd just put them on the microphone and just let them talk, you know. So it was, and they, you know, tried to tell us we couldn't do that anymore, you know. It was
and
just,
that was the best part, honestly. We had,
yeah.
Remember, what was that show on MTV? But Sway came in. He was on the street, and then Sway walked in, and then I think same night he came in. It was like, "What's going on here?" He's like checking out our records and shit, and then a bachelorette party came in like at the same time. And then one night, I think Ryan was out of town, and I was doing it with Brandon Springer, and we had the door open, and Gons was outside. So I was like, "What's up, Mark? How you doing?" He's like, "What's going on in there?" I was like, "We're doing this show, dude." He's like, I was like, "You want to come talk?" He's like, "I went to high school with Slayer." I was like, "Perfect." Here. He came and got on the mic and just told us about how he was in high school with Tom Araya, and like his brother skated with him, and all those crazy stories. And we hung out for a while. But I mean, that was the show. It was right on the street, like at the nexus of the universe, first. Anything could happen.
Yeah, we'd have the phone line just like open the whole show. So like anyone, there was no screening or anything. Like anyone that wanted to call, we just put them. You're on the air. You know, it was just like dangerously like free. You know, like it was like holy shit. You know, you could have. You know.
Are those other shows recorded? Do they exist somewhere, or was it just live and out?
Because once we kind of had a idea that we were going to be fired soon, I went on and recorded. They were all at the time. They were all archived on the site, but the only way to actually get it off recorded was you have to just listen to it for the whole duration. So I just would just hit play and use wiretap and just recorded each. I think I have maybe 20 episodes or so.
Oh, sick!
And they're more towards the end. Like we were doing a lot of interviews with people, but we interviewed Rob Halford on there, which was pretty cool.
No way.
Yeah, he ended up just
he came in, or it was over the phone.
Yeah, he came in.
Yeah, he came in. Yeah.
That was a night.
You want to hear Beavis and Butthead interview Rob Halford? I'll send you the link.
Is that's what you guys are doing?
Well, we were just so
No.
Remember when you did
talk about being starstruck?
Oh shit, that's fucking dope, dude. We gotta do you guys know anything about this new portion? I don't know, Tooth, if you ever listened to the podcast, but we got this new portion of the show called SMFM with a good friend of ours, Mr. Shane Mednich.
SMFM.
He wants to ask you a question right now.
Hey, Shane.
As a fan from the very beginning, I want to know, will the OG lineup ever play together again?
Oh, wow. Hey, never say never, you know?
It's a good album.
It's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
It has to, you know.
How about for Shane's 50th birthday?
When's that, next year? Don't call us. We'll call you.
My guy will talk to your guy.
Uh-huh.
Have you talked to Logan at all, or in a while? I haven't talked to him in many moons.
I talked to him on the phone not too long ago. He's in LA.
I love that dude.
Killing.
He's still down there. Is he?
Yep.
Does he work at Supreme?
Yeah.
Oh, he's still doing the same shit. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to Logan. Me and him definitely got fucking hammered in San Francisco a bunch. Where photos while you're getting hammered, and then the next day you're like, dude, there's a broken glass next to my face in the photo. What the fuck?
Dude, watch out for him when he actually really drinks. He's a dangerous man.
You cannot keep up with the Scottish person, I don't think.
He doesn't drink. I mean, he might not even drink anymore, but back in the day, he's always kind of pretty, he would hold his liquor pretty well, but there's the rare night where he would just have an extra shot or something. You're like, whoa. Just
Take it to the next level.
Fire extinguishers and,
He's got the extra chromosome that kicks in.
Okay, here's my true or false question of the program. True or false, Wives and Package took Rachel Ray skating on the $40 a day show?
Do I have to answer this? Oh, that was true. I think I watched it on TV.
Coming up next, I'll check out the radical side of Newport.
He doesn't even have his shoelaces tied, and he can do that. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was an interesting phone call.
I know she dropped some heat in the Water Brothers bathroom.
Is that real?
I wasn't there, but I heard the story a million times.
Yeah, I don't like. I remember there being like some talk of it, but it wasn't like 100% gonna happen. And I remember just being like waking up like a Saturday morning, just like after a night out, and just getting a call from like Logan and Sid, like, "Dude, where are you? You're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be on the show." I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And like, I ended up going to the skate. We brought her to like this really horrible skate park in Newport that's gone now. And I remember like they wanted Sid to skate, and like his board was like at the shop, and like everyone's always playing pranks there, and like someone had, I don't know if they took the bushings out of his trucks or something, but like they asked him to drop in, and like he didn't realize, he just like grabbed his board and like went to go roll in, and just like he didn't eat shit, but he like couldn't even ride, like his trucks were so loose he couldn't even ride down this ramp, and he's like, "Oh, you motherfuckers!" Like he just,
Yeah, how did it come about?
I think Chris Gorman might have had something to do with it. He was like, I don't know if he was partners. The drummer from that band Belly. You know that band Belly? They're actually from Newport.
Oh.
And so Chris Gorman, the drummer, really awesome guy, was always hung out at the shop, and he was like kind of, for a moment, he was like kind of like partners with Sid there. And I think he was living in New York at the time, and I think he was the connection. I don't know. He had some kind of connection to it, but yeah, I don't know. It was pretty random. I had no idea who she was when we were doing it. Years later, I see her on TV and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's that.
Yeah, that's random. Are you getting ready to go to New York? Don't you do New York for the summer?
Yeah, we'll usually head up there around June. So yeah, in a couple months. Once it gets hot here.
How does that work? Are you just what are you doing? Are you working from home and stuff so you can be wherever?
Yeah, I just freelance as like a video editor, animator. So I can kind of, with the technology these days, you can kind of do that anywhere. So
yeah,
it's nice. And we go there because Brandy's still, she's in the union for hair in New York. So when we go there, that's where she does a lot of her work. She also works in the salon. So.
Shout out Brandy. I haven't seen her in a minute.
She's actually there right now. She's there working. She works in a salon there too. So she goes back every couple of months.
What are you up to these days, Tooth?
Driving.
You in like 23 bands?
No, I just got one that kind of does anything.
Same one that I saw you at you were at that was like hella long ago, I think, right? At the Parkside?
That's the CD, yeah. No, the Parkside,
that's the postcard. You guys got postcards.
Oh, that's right.
What? I love postcards.
I'll send it to you.
San Francisco, California, 94158.
So we're doing that thing, the Stress Angel thing.
Stress Angel.
Yeah.
Is it on a label?
Yeah, Stygian Black Hand, Brooklyn.
Okay.
And then,
so I can't use any of the songs.
Dying Victims. No, they're cool. Well, Hits featured us in the LARB in the mag like 2 months ago or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the one with Alyssa on the cover.
Yeah, the Alyssa issue.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, that was pretty cool of Hits.
That was super cool.
He was hyped on that. But yeah, we're doing that. Got a couple of gigs.
I think Sam and Shane would hit it off. I feel like they kind of are doing this, a lot of the bands that like people don't know about that like they're stoked on and shit. Like I'm hyped on the LARP stuff. Sam's rad.
Yeah, that's a good section.
Sam's the coolest dude. I met him out in San Diego when I was like 18 or something. I was just out there visiting friends, and someone was like, "Oh, you should hit up Sam Hits." I was like, "What? Really?" So they gave me his number. I called. I was like, "Hey, you don't know me, but someone told, I think it was probably Farmer or someone was like, you should hang out with this dude." So he picked me up at the skate park, and we just drove around listening to metal tapes, ate burritos all day, shot the shit, and then he dropped me back off, and that was it.
Solid human being.
Cool guy.
Absolutely. Well, have you guys had like late night drinks with Farmer and debated this great rock and roll American band subject?
I've already answered this.
Okay.
ZZ Top.
I know you. ZZ Top.
I mean, they're not. Dusty's dead now, but I mean that's the answer. I mean, there's no question.
Really? Okay, what do you think, Tooth?
Running American band.
The Great American Band?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not even like...
The greatest, not the great.
The greatest.
Farmer was on Aerosmith for a long time, and I was like, even if they are, I can't say that sentence. So, by default, that doesn't work. And I was claiming Van Halen, but he said since Sammy Hagar was in Van Halen, it disqualified him.
Geez.
And then GNR and Nirvana don't have enough material, apparently.
I mean, we're talking like consistent releases, like still maintaining, never like losing. Like you're not embarrassed to listen to a single ZZ
What about
Top
CCR, Credence?
That didn't last.
I mean, doesn't the band still have to be active though? I think that was like part of the rule.
Oh, maybe it does. I don't know. Farmer has a lot of weird rules. Like,
yeah, because if that wasn't part of it, then there'd be a lot of other bands in the running. But I think the band has to be still active with the original members.
That's a tough one. I like the Aerosmith thing, kind of, even though they haven't done anything relevant in a million.
They're from your neck of the woods, right?
They're from Boston area.
Metallica, Devo, ZZ Top, Van Halen, CCR, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Cheap Trick. Those are kind of the ones that a lot of people have floated around.
Shit.
I like ZZ Top. We just saw them, and it was so sick. The dude that replaced
he's their guitar tech, I think, right?
Right.
Yeah, and he's
growing a beard now.
Oh,
and he skates though. He's like super cool, and he got us on the list. And so me and my wife went, and it was so epic. Like spinning the guitars, like still doing it. Like, oh yeah, ZZ
Billy Gibbons is like the greatest showman of all time. Just the banter in between songs, man. Is just like he's the coolest guy. We saw them on a rotating stage one year, and it was like we ended up like we were in like the fourth row or something like that. It was just pretty awesome.
He's a cool dude.
Frank Beard just had like his e-cigarette and like a Tab soda on his drum kit, just like
Where do you even get a Tab these days?
Yeah, he has like a stock of Tab somewhere.
Tooth, you're not dropping enough F-bombs.
Oh.
We got a drinking game I didn't tell you about, but every time you say fuck, the listener has to drink. And I think you've always said it like twice.
It should have been every time your little alarm thing goes off.
Okay, yeah, maybe that's we'll go back in time and change the rules.
I think it goes off like every 10 minutes, so.
Okay. Fucking pound of beer every time the fucking alarm goes off.
Wait, who invented this game?
Me.
That's a great game.
Speaking of which, I gotta go get another beer. I'll be right back.
Go get.
All right. Let's get to know you, Tooth.
Yeah, what's happening, dude?
Peace out.
But what about you? Did you say you're driving a truck?
Yeah, I'm driving, moving lumber. I was out.
How's that?
I was out in Long Island today. Made it out. The weather sucked. So I missed the first two boats. Got canceled. and then I got the third boat, and I got home like at 8 tonight. So I was like, I think I was in that truck for 14 hours today.
Are you driving those double ones?
No, it's 40 foot. And it's not an 18-wheeler, it's a 10-wheeler.
Okay. Do you still need a special license?
Yeah.
You take the boat over to Montauk? Is that where you...
I take the boat to Orient Point, and then I drive all the way around to Montauk. It's 2 hours.
I mean, it's better than taking 95.
Well, yeah, that'd be like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Wait, so do you drive trucks in the winter?
I drive every day.
Damn. Like through the snow and everything.
Oh, yeah.
God
Well, I'm
damn,
driving
you're gnarly.
building materials, and I guess, you know, all the contractors and the guys working don't really want to work in the snow and shit, so I still got to bring it there because, you know, it's going to clog up the next day if I don't. So I just deliver it to a fucking snowbank and get the hell out of there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it gets pretty hairy. Not because of me, but just because nobody knows how to drive. So when you're on the road 14 hours a day, every day, you see how, you know, fucking sketchy everybody is on the road.
For sure.
People are just, you know, because I'm way up high. I look down at people's cars.
Everyone's on Instagram.
They're playing like friggin' Angry Birds and shit, like on their phone.
Yeah.
Or whatever they're doing. Like, no one's like paying attention to anything. So
I can't believe I mean, somebody probably has, but I haven't seen it. The graphic in my mind for this era is the dude looking at his phone walking off a cliff. Like, it's just like that has to be, you know, it's like, go. Just go.
Just do it. Get out of here.
Remember we made we made that zombie apocalypse radio thing back in, like, when we first started the radio show. It was like it was basically people had turned into iPhone zombies because they were like, we made like an emergency report about, you know, like everyone was like, oh my god, I can never see a zombie text so much. You know, like, you know, that was like probably 12 years ago, which is crazy to think.
Well, that's like right when it came out, I think.
Yeah, everyone was just like walking around like this, you know.
Well, you know about San Francisco's driverless cars?
I've heard about them. Yeah, they kill a bunch of people.
It's nuts. There's just cars that pick people up that don't have anyone in them.
Have you been in one?
Fuck no, never.
Last year we had a bunch of like those in Austin. I haven't seen them this year, but
I heard somebody got caught having sex in the back seat recently.
You can just go put a cone on the hood and then it won't drive.
Yeah, that's what's so sick.
Whoa.
Yeah, look that up on YouTube. There's hella cars with just cones that for some reason they can't do.
They would cause like crazy backups because there would be like 3 of them, not even because of the cones, like they would just like all hit an intersection and none of them would know what to do, and they'd just like totally clog a whole intersection and just back up all the traffic. And you know, the traffic's really bad in Austin too, so add something like that into the mix, forget about it.
How often are you guys skating these days?
Oh boy, it rains every day here, so I don't know. Ryan probably skates more than I do.
I've been skating a lot actually.
You're in Austin?
Yep. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yellow Jacket.
Butler.
Oh yeah, that's our golfing spot right there.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, there's so much stuff to skate here, and Brandy is like the biggest skate rat of them all. So she's like always just like, oh, I'm gonna go skate. And she skates at like 8:30, 9 in the morning. So kind of gotten me into like skating in the morning, which is there's like a whole crew of dudes that just go and skate like House Park in the morning. It's like I don't know, it's pretty fun.
I don't like skating in the morning. If you sweat,
I hated it at first, but now I'm like once you take that first slam, you're like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready for my day. You know? So
the park's sick in Austin, though. Did the shop just get dozed or something?
The shop moved like down the street, but closer to the skate park. I mean, it's it's literally like half a block down the street. But they did bulldoze the old location. That shop, they're doing well. It's like between all like the Roger guys and the skate shop there, I mean the skate park there, and they got a pretty thriving team going right now.
You guys got like 6 parks in town.
There's so many parks, but there's just so many like ditches and backyard ramps and like I mean even when Tooth was here a couple of years ago, we were just driving around looking at spots, and I'd be like, yeah, no one skates that thing, and like it would be like the greatest spot in Rhode Island if like no one skates it just because there's a million other spots. It's like
it's ditch city down there. There's so much good ditches.
Mm-hmm. And during the lockdown, they actually closed like most of the skate parks, and so all the ditches just got like fully like. There's one called Lizard Ditch that might as well be a skate park at this point. There's just like all this like concrete stuff poured in there, and pretty fun.
What's the one that was like? Isn't it? There's something that's called like has a number in it, like 5 something.
5 hip.
5 hip. Yeah, that's actually like less than a mile from my house. But that's like I don't know. That's a ditch that you skate when you're like ambitious. When you're young and ambitious. I go there now. I'm like, I'm not gonna do anything on that. It's basically like a hip with that, like that box on top of it. But it's when you see it in videos, it looks easy. But when you actually go there, it's pretty like anything that's done on that is it's well deserved. I'll have to say. So.
We're putting together another skate video for 4th of July. We're going to do the Talkin Schmit skate video. So you got to at least get one clip by the 4th of July.
All right, got you.
We got Shane making like some music to like fucking patriotic craziness with video game beats and shit. We're just trying to keep the people what they want,
Yeah.
4th of July, I think I could get a clip between now and
I think you got this.
1 or 2.
Yeah, you gotta get some kind of slappy something.
Yeah.
And if you get a Scruboo cameo, you get bonus points.
Oh my
shit.
He was my favorite skater. Dude. He's so good.
He do those like little fakey like popper things and like he was pretty light on his feet back in the day.
Surprise, I would agree. Yeah. He lived with Rehoboth for a while, and we would skate in the East Bay a lot. And he was like really good friends with Donny Barley. Like Donny and him are pretty tight, I think.
Yeah, I met both of them like pretty much at the same time. There was like this skate park called 8 Ball in Bellingham, Massachusetts, and I think Scruboo worked there. With like I went there as a kid, but he worked there, and we would go there and like same kind of thing. Like Donny would show up. Like Donny had just moved back from California, and so he was like living back in. He ended up moving. He lives in Newport now, but he ended up like moving back. I think he was living in Providence at the time. And we'd always like see him at 8 Ball and just show up, and I'll just be like, oh shit, just watch him rip the park.
They're building a park in Newport now, and Donnie's like the main source behind that, like him and Sid. So it's been like 10 or 15 years or whatever they've been trying to get this park, and they finally are. I think they're breaking ground in May. So Newport's finally gonna have.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a big one. That's cool.
Double black diamond bowl, like some loopy thing.
I saw there's like a rainbow serpent rail thing. Is that the?
That's all you do.
Is that the actual design, or is that just like someone's idea?
I think that's the design until they get there and they're like, that's not gonna work. Then formulate.
Gotta have the rainbow rail.
Yeah.
I'm all about the pump track. I like trying to have fun without lifting my wheels off the ground.
Yeah, we have one those evergreen parks just outside of Austin and Taylor, and it's just like 70s skate dream, just like you don't have to do a single trick. You can just roll, and if you want to do a little trick, you can. But
somebody's got to take it to the next level. Like maybe they have, but I haven't seen it. But imagine the pump track, but you make it so there's like gaps and shit. Like you don't have to ollie, but you go fast enough that you clear something and go into something else, and then maybe there's the rainbow rail somewhere. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like you get some shit like that, but with the track.
Some pit of snakes.
I think Grindline should be on that like yesterday.
We didn't even talk about Genco, man. I want to get my Genco sponsor back.
There's another park. I haven't been there yet, but it's about an hour away, and they built kind of a skate park like that, but they also built, which is cool, I hope this catches on, they built stuff in the town, like on the sidewalks. They built like a little, basically a sidewalk kind of pump track that has like, you know, like throughout the town, and like the town hall has like a bank in front of it. So they're like kind of building stuff in the town to skate that's supposed to be skated, which is pretty, I mean, you'd think in Texas they wouldn't be. I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
We just did that here in San Francisco in the UM Plaza. Like Camfoosh built like a replica of China Banks. All this stuff that blends in. It's not a skate park. It's just a plaza that's skatable.
Yeah.
And so it's like the model. Like if this works, maybe it can work elsewhere. You know, like, and it's super sick because it, like, if you look at it, it looks like it's supposed to be there,
rather than just skate stopping everything.
Yeah, no fences and just like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like it's on market. It's where all the fentanyl dudes are. So I think they were trying to like get skaters to push out those dudes. But I was like, maybe
you guys monitor these guys.
Yeah.
Is that right next to Supreme on Market?
It's across the street and like a block and a half down.
Yeah.
I think Supreme's like 6 and this is on 8th.
That's like 28 days later zone over there.
Fully. They all do the L, like they're just like their heads, you know, they're looking at their phone, but there's no phone.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's end it with the band stuff. What needs to happen? What are you guys hoping for? Like, how are we going to get you guys either to put out some more music, to get on the road, both? What are the thoughts?
Wait, is it almost like the Trife 30th anniversary coming up?
Yeah, basically you just need to book a show and then we'll make it work. That's
I'm looking at the poster up on the wall.
Yeah, what's the date on that thing?
Let's see.
I feel like it was maybe February or March.
February 17th.
What year?
2007.
2007. So
that was the 2-year anniversary. So.
Okay, so this is 19. Yeah, next year will be 20 years. Because if that was the 2-year anniversary in 2007, that means it was birthed in 2005. So 2025 is 20 years.
Wow.
So February 2025, here we go.
All right.
Where do we want to do it? Do we want to do it in the middle of America, like meet halfway?
I mean, the Parkside's still alive.
I think we should do it in San Francisco. I mean, we haven't been to San Francisco in years.
Right.
We were there like every summer for years.
Let's start this. Okay, SMFM is going to make this happen. This whole thing is on SMFM.
Demassek, your high tower.
A live broadcast too? Like, fuck, it could just be... We could all retire again. How many times are we going to retire in one life?
I know. It just keeps going. This whole thing.
The never-ending reunion.
Dude. Hell yeah.
Dude, let's line it up.
Well, you got anything that you want everyone to know about each other? Tooth, you got something good to say about Ryan and vice versa?
Oh, I love Ryan. I'm so happy to see his face finally.
I know. We don't see each other enough.
Yeah. Well, we're going to kick it this summer. We'll get together and jam and hopefully hang out with the Demassek guys this summer. We tried to do it last summer, but Anton's pretty hard to wrangle in. But I think we got.
Where's my boy Pete Booth? Where's he at?
He came over here last weekend. We had a big day. He helped me trim out my outdoor shower. We had a big bonfire, and I think we tried to play music, but I fell over into the drums. And then we were
my
like,
phone number has not changed, so Pete, your text messages are always welcome.
Oh yeah.
Love that guy.
Fuck yeah. Well, fuck, dude. I hope I can hug you guys, high five you guys. Fucking haven't. I feel like we haven't been in the same room in like
It's been a long time.
No.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we just
pre-COVID.
missed you in Brooklyn, too.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You and your chick were there, and we were like...
We
not-
were there for like 3.5 days or something. It was quick. You know, whatever the date may be. Wait, what's next year? 2/5. Okay, so we'll do it February 5th. 2525. Done.
Wow, easy.
Easy time.
You heard it here first, guys. Buy your tickets yesterday.
Let's go.
Thank you guys for taking the time. Reach out anytime. Don't be a stranger. Miss you guys.
Absolutely, man. Miss you, too. Good to see you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Hell yeah, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thanks, brother.
Cheers.
Chat.
Spider baby is getting old.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Talking Schmit. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Anchor, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. When you subscribe, you'll get notifications every Tuesday of new episodes the minute they become available. Also, please leave reviews and a 5-star rating. It's the best way to help the show grow. All of the episodes will always remain free, but if you would like to help support the show, you can do so at talkingschmit.com, where you can pick up some merchandise like t-shirts, beanies, hats, and stickers. The website has an entire archive of all of the episodes, with extra photos and videos. Email us with any suggestions, comments, or ways that the show may have improved your life at talkingschmit@gmail.com. All interviews are conducted, edited, and produced by Schmitty. The intro music is Mary's Cross by the band Nature. A very special shout out goes to the executive director, Cheryl Camisa.
Shout out.
This is Talking Schmit, where the Rolodex is deep, but the conversation is deeper.
Keep the wheels greased.